Happily, there is consensus in the panel in terms of what this means for all of us.
Yes.
The only thoughts that keep, resonating for me is today's Algon, today's chairman, under what kind of condition were they elected?
That's the same question that was raised earlier.
So, no, I mean today's, the people who constitute
the Algon,
the platforms at that subnational level were elected through the kind of process that my distinguished honorable talked about earlier, which is the point in which the party, the dominant party in those states, took 99% of the vote cast. In fact, I'm being patronizing in saying 99%. They took all.
All, yeah.
So whether it's in Oyo currently, where you have that solidarity, it is a solidarity of benefit. The same thing Honorable talked about, where the state houses of assembly will come together and say, look, we don't want autonomy. It's imponderable. What we need to do is to remove the stranglehold of these governors. Dr. Professor Aide is talking about negotiation. What we are dealing with is impunity.
But he talked about a process that it cannot just be done.
No, I'm coming. We are dealing. You can use process to cure impunity. You can, if the end point is impunity. He's absolutely correct. That is a process.
Yeah.
But let's look at what we are dealing with. So the Supreme Court gives a judgment. Somebody sits somewhere and says, "Let us negotiate it." Where are we going to go with all of this? Where will we go to? Because except we are very clear about the things that we want. If it were a court of appeal or lower court, but the Supreme Court of the land gives a judgment that resonates with majority of the people who live in that place. And some people say, let's negotiate. Let's have a conversation about that judgment. Let's know whether we have imbalance in the way the military created the local governments. That has to do with surgery, some kind of political surgery in the National Assembly. They can do that on their own. But today, the local governments, the one that exists, if they have financial and political autonomy, the majority of our people who live there will benefit. What do? We need to think around first, possibly, what do we do with the SECs, the state independent electoral commissions? We need to deal with the money itself. Where, yes, is in the, what do they call it, sir? Is it first line charge? Just like INEC gets his own money, can the SECs also have their money? Can they be trained? Can there be a new process of appointment? Can we have a stakeholder, representation in the State Independent Electoral Commission? What do I mean? You can have the political parties have nomination through probably IPAC. You can have civil society. You can have professional groups. You can have the judiciary. You can have security agents. Have representation within that platform. And then you have their money coming to them, so that the process of, first and foremost, leadership recruitment within the local government can be one that gives little confidence.
What about the fact that it is the governors that appoints the head of this CX? Are you in support of CX, or you think INEC should conduct elections for local governments? Because some people are also...
I don't believe in outsourcing. I believe in improving what you have.
Okay.
We had an INEC that everybody knew that you could be going to cast elections, and the result of where you are casting the elections will be announced. That's where we came from. We started working. Both the National Assembly, there's stakeholder unanimity that there is need to be improvement in that process. The donors came, everybody came, and then there is incremental progress. I mean, shift from what we used to have in the past. Many times, when you want to solve a problem, you create a new problem. Those who are talking about new, what do they call it now? They say new INEC for the states. Some are saying, let's scrap the SEC and let INEC conduct the election.
Yeah.
All of those debates is part of what we do when we have a problem. We outsource the problem. We never ever want to confront it. What are those challenges that we have with the current State Independent Electoral Commission in terms of leadership recruitment process within that place? How do we work around it and make it better than what it is currently? So, in answering your question, the way you have it at the national is that the president nominates. When the president nominates, the challenge is that in most of the states, you truly do not have state assemblies. You have an extension of the state house. And so, in reality, if you had the kind of National Assembly that Honorable them were in, where something can come in and people say, no, this is the better thing to do. This is the right thing we should do. But you don't have that in the states. You don't have that in the states. So the debate and negotiation should be citizen negotiation, really, for me, in terms of what do we want our local government to be. Where do we want it to go to? And not to sit down, people who have appropriated that platform already, ambushing all the structures that can even engage in the negotiation, holding it in their hand. So if you go to the negotiation in the state, you bring members of the House of Assembly, you bring the state chairman, who, by the nature of how they came in, their complexion in the first instance, does not even allow them to be neutral in that negotiation. So you are going to, it's about impunity. And we need to come to that point where we say we are clear about what we want to do with our local government.